Let's get some more nostalgia. Let's get some of my nostalgia in.
Yeah, here we go. Yes. We'll move on to Cowboy Bebop. We'll do the first 3 episodes just because it was a lot.
It didn't stop me.
It didn't stop you. It had to stop me because a lot of stuff happened in congruence with everything. But we'll get into it. So I'll read all 3 episodes and then we'll kind of break it down. Episode 1, Cowboy Gospel, Spike and Jet head to New Tijuana to track down a red-eyed dealer. Episode 2, Spike and Jet track a one-armed Teddy bomber while Spike grapples with his past. And episode 3, Dog Star Swing, Jet tries to track down a present for his daughter while Spike tracks a mark using a face changer. So Brenton, like you and I have both watched this, but this is definitely more in your wheelhouse of things. Mm-hmm. So what did you think? I know you watched all 10.
Yeah, I watched it. I was done with it by Sunday morning. I was ready to do the season wrap up. So the series has been very divisive online. Critically, I'm on Rotten Tomatoes. Oh, where'd it go? Critically, 48, audience 53. So not doing super hot in that regard. I've seen a lot of people with complaints about the way that the show was shot. And the biggest complaint that I've seen is it unnecessarily goes into the backstory between Spike, Vicious, and Julia, whereas Vicious is in 5 episodes of the anime, of the 24 episode of the anime run, and Julia she's like a ghost. She's barely in it at all. And so they took some liberties, and that's what like the showrunners had said. It's not a 1-to-1 of the anime. And it couldn't be, because these are 45-minute to an hour-long episodes, whereas the anime are 22-minute long episodes. So they had to fill in the gaps a little bit. It's difficult. I'll be honest with you. For me, it's difficult to really point to these episodes in a singular fashion, just because I did watch the whole thing.
Sure.
But these are all episodes taken from the anime. The first episode is pretty much a 1-to-1 comparison of the first episode in the anime, minus the fact that Faye is not in that episode in the anime. And she does show up in the first episode of the live action Netflix series. There's not as much the bar that they go to specifically in the second episode is not. It features throughout this series. They're there often. It's one of kind of the main settings of the show, and that's not really a 1-to-1 with the anime. But the Teddy Bomber, Asimov, and the girl from the first episode, and then Hakeem from the third episode with when they find the dog Ein, the Welsh Corgi, those are all episodes from the anime.
Right.
I've seen a lot with, like I said, people didn't like the way it was shot. People didn't like the backstory that they filled in. I tend to agree with that. I think that Vicious as a character, it's one of those things where scarcity builds tension.
Right.
And he's in, like I said, he's in 5 episodes in the anime of the 24 episode run. And that's one of the things that, it's an important episode if he's in it.
Right.
And so for him to feature prominently, I think kind of made him a little bit less intimidating. And he's kind of goofy looking. The guy that plays him is kind of goofy looking. And then, so that's probably my number one complaint. But I would say that John Cho, who stars as Spike Spiegel, and Mustafa Shakir, who stars Jet, if you close your eyes and listen to Mustafa Shakir play, like voicing Jet, it sounds like it's ripped straight out of the anime. He sounds so much like him that it's creepy to me. I thought John Cho did just well enough as Spike. That's a hard role to play. And I in the episodes that other than episode 1, Faye's not really a factor, so we won't touch on her too much, but I think that the episodes, or I'm sorry, I think the characters that they got right, they got really right, and the characters that they got wrong, they got really wrong. And so I, like I said, I blazed through this through the first, the whole season in about 48 hours. And I actually started watching it again. And then I, started watching something else. It's difficult for me to, like, I was immediately enthused, and this happens often with me. I'm immediately enthused, but then when I kind of take a step back from it and the nostalgia wears off a little bit, the same level of enthusiasm is not there. I don't think it's a 40, 46 and a 53 or whatever the Rotten numbers are. I think it's probably in the high 6 to low 7s range for me. But speaking, on these specific episodes, I thought the first one was very good. I thought it was a good way to open. The second episode, not as strong. They dealt a little bit more with the backstory stuff, which I didn't really like as much. And then the third episode, Jet trying to find the gift, which was pretty funny, like that whole story arc. But then, them getting a hold of the dog Ein, that is kind of a recurring character moving forward, was interesting. And I like that episode. So, I mean, like you said, I've seen the anime. I've probably seen it the whole way through 3 or 4 times. I don't think you've probably even seen every episode. So what did you think of?
I thought the first episode was really strong. Mm-hmm. And I really liked it. I thought the pacing was really good. I knew that everything wasn't like boom, 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 up with the anime. The second episode, I definitely felt like, I want to say maybe, I don't want to say lost, but it just felt like it wasn't trying to progress as quickly. And then the third episode pulled me back in a little bit more. I would say, like, ranking of it, the first episode was really like my favorite. The third episode was my second favorite. I would say, like, the second episode, it'll probably, I hope, my hope is that the second episode is my least favorite of all the episodes. I just really thought the second episode just didn't do it justice to, I think I've actually seen most of all the Cowboy Bebops, if not all of them. I didn't realize it was just 22 episodes, because I kind of watched it, or 24. But the second episode just seems so out of context for, like, the anime and for, like, this show after watching the third one too. So I think the first one, like, definitely held its own. Like you said, John, it's the characters, it's tough because that show is so, like, the anime is so revered and such a tough, it's really well done. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, it's as perfect as that kind of show can be. And for this to be like, oh, let's do this live action, seemed tough. So
yeah,
like I said, I hope the second episode is as bad as it gets. Because I necessarily that it was bad. It just didn't really seem like it was doing the anime justice. It felt kind of wonky to me.
Yeah, and
first and third were more in the actual zeitgeist.
And I think that that's the thing that people are struggling with, but it's all about expectations. I mean, if you came into this expecting the anime after they said this isn't going to be a recreation of the anime, then you were going to be disappointed. And it kind of came down to, like, alter your expectations and kind of try to appreciate what they're trying to do. And I think that they did. I think for the most part, like I said, I don't think when I finished the series, I was like, that's a 10. I can't wait to watch it again. And then take a step back from it. And I was like, well, okay, I can see that there's kind of a little bit of warts here. But I think that so many people run to the internet with their initial reaction to things that they don't give it a chance to gestulate a little bit and really sit down and think about it, and also take away some other people's opinions. I mean, I saw a lot of people say that they didn't like the certain camera techniques that they use to make the villains look a little bit more bombastic, but that's how those villains are. I mean, they are bombastic, and I felt that they did a good job of that. So we'll do 4, 5, and 6 we'll do 4, 5, and 6 next week, and then we'll do 7, 8, 9, 10 the week after.
All right, that sounds good. Yeah.
Put a pin in it that way, and I'll probably go back and watch some of those episodes so that I can speak maybe a little bit more to the singular episodes rather than, the series as a whole.